with this. Next slide. Some of the sample innovation possibilities: adding new courses, a unique service, outreach projects, or unique collaborative activities. A collaborative activity, collaboration can also be an assessment too. Peer assessment, collaboration or collaborative learning, and this has not been experimented enough in Indian universities. And that's the reason why our students are not interdependent, right? So they don't know how to work with others. New student engagement activities, new research initiative, new partnerships, anything new that comes is a part of innovation. Can we have next slide? Impact. Now this is very important. We haven't spoken much. Neither the policy speaks much about it. When we say impact, focus is on high quality inputs and the outcomes. So we have to understand the difference between output and the outcome and the impact. So this is the time that we need to understand that. So, we have to demonstrate that we are making a difference. So I'll just give you an example. A category publication, FT50 journal publication. So let me ask this question. You have a FT50 journal publication. Where is this publication going to help and whom? If you have answer, you are making an impact. If you don't have an answer, you're not making an impact. You're just producing an output, right? So what we are looking at, UGC journal or UGC list of journals, where are they making impact? Where are these journals, publications are helping the industry to transform? Where are these journal publications helping the academic world to create a new paradigm? Citation is one impact that we can talk about. Right, so these are limited way of looking at impact, but we have to have a larger view about impact because we are out there to make changes in the society. Society is facing very pressing problems like environmental issues, climate change, social problem. DEI is now the talk of the board meetings. We have to talk about diversity. We have to talk about equity, inclusion. There are a lot of pressing issues the world is facing, and we are not immune to that. We need to actually address them through research, address them through our practices, address them through in the classroom, outside the classroom. Academic world cannot actually get themselves immune to all these kind of problems that society is facing. Impact is very important for us. Next slide. So just to give an example, a couple of examples I have created to make you understand the difference between input, output, and the outcome. Let's say, for example, you are instructing the class, so it is an input. The students get a degree because you have taught them. That's an output, actually. And the students actually get a job out of that degree is an impact that you are making. So if your student is not actually finally able to work on their livelihood after you taught them, you have not made any impact, actually. So that is the lens through which we have to look at how we are positioning ourselves. Another example, the faculty research and teaching activities and input. Faculty becomes expert in the field. That is an output. It's not an impact or outcome. The outcome is that your research is being quoted elsewhere, is being used by some agency somewhere, right? So that is an impact. So if you start looking at, let's say, incentive system, many universities I have seen where the incentive is given to the faculty for research publication. If you can link the incentive with the impact factor or impact on these kind of considerations where the faculty would be more inclined to produce impactful research, that is going to change the environment. Can we have the next slide? You can leave that. I have given more examples of that. Next slide. So this is where the entire process has to be. So you have the mission, then you have the people, you have activities, you have the output. It has to be converted into outcome. The outcome has to create some impact. And if you are not able to produce evidences of how we are reaching to the last segment, we are not doing the right kind of job for the society. That's what. Next slide. Now, where the teaching effectiveness comes in, this is the ecosystem I described, because unless we create this kind of ecosystem, it's not possible to achieve a good teaching standard. But teaching standards and good effective teaching is the result of that. So here I'm asking three questions when we talk about teaching effectiveness. The first question is that, why do we teach? So ask your faculty or ask your board, ask your entire fraternity, make them sit in the hall and ask this question, why do we teach? And let them come out with the answers. You will have lots of spectrum of view Why? What is the purpose of teaching? So you found your purpose of teaching by asking this question. Second question we can ask that, why do students learn? So they come for learning or they come for degree? So we have conducted a planning commission report long back. We did a survey with the students and we asked them this question, why do you come to higher education? What is the purpose of coming to the higher education? And then we found that your class has got 3 or 4 types of seekers. The first seekers are they are the life skill seekers. The life skill seekers students are easy to engage and you will find them everywhere. For example, you will find them on the stage performing, you will find them in the sports field, the same set of students, and you will also find them presenting a research paper in the conference and academically very good. So these 20% students, 30% students everywhere, they are life skill seekers. But we also have degree seekers in the classroom. It's very difficult to engage them because they understand that the purpose of being in the class, them being in the class, is to get a degree. So anything other than which is supporting their degree, they will not be getting engaged. So if they tell them that, okay, industry professional is coming, why don't you attend the session? They will say, oh, it's not important. So, that's not important for me. So I'm more interested in getting A+, that's all. So that kind of scenario. And we also have, 3-4 types of students. So the time paucity is there, so I'm not going into that. The third question, which is very important, how learning works. Unless we deliberate on this, we cannot find our own pedagogy. But this is a very key question. Every faculty should ask this question because this is his question, this is his class. And it cannot be compared to one faculty with the other. There cannot be one single recipe for everybody. We can talk about few common things, but faculty has to explore that. So the question is that, I know economics, but do I really know how my students learn? So that's very important. So the next slide. So this is the last slide. So how learning works. I'm just throwing a few ideas over there based on what we have been experiencing, we have been doing, and my own research. Idea number 1, learning ecosystem is important. A lot happens outside the classroom. Imagine how you and I have learned in our life. You will realize very quickly that almost like 70% of what we know today, we have learned outside the classroom. And 30% perhaps we learned inside the classroom. And that's what Dale also supports. If you look at the Dale's cone, it clearly says that if you're lecturing in the classroom, the students is not going to learn more than 10 to 20%. Provided you are a wonderful professor who's articulated, your delivery is very good, then the students will learn 10 to 20%, not more than that. And the neuroscience says that the brain shuts down after a couple of minutes. The span is very little. Now it is reducing. It's being sliced in thousands and thousands of manner, and that's the reason why it will shut down very quickly. And therefore, there's no point in lecturing actually. So, are you engaging the student outside the classroom, and how do you engage the student? Are you doing it formal structure, or are you doing in the informal structure? Now, informal reinforcement is going to enhance the outcome of the formal engagement. That's what the research says. So, but our professors, do they understand? Is the higher authority in the higher education, do they understand the significance of engaging students in the faculty in the informal fashion? We do not actually care about that. You look at where is the money going? The large allocation of time, 80%, more than 80% allocation of time and allocation of budget in the higher education is going on classes, textbook, professors, examinations. These are all formal structures, right? So we do not have talk on the over coffee. We do not learn in the corridor. We do not sit in the lawn and talk. We do not spend time beyond 5 or 6 in the evening together. There is no allocation for that. So hardly 10–20% allocation for that. So that's the problem. Third, how we live is how we learn. So this is the clue to pedagogy. So you have to use all the senses and think about the fact how feeling and seeing, if you combine them together, how it is going to affect the learning. So if only listening is used, then the learning is going to be limited. But if you combine listening with seeing, the learning enhances. And if you are actually enhancing listening, seeing, and feeling, then the learning actually goes up very high. Now, there are parameters you can look at. There are broad research available. Neuroscience, I'm saying neuroscience, Cope's study and the neuroscience. Teaching HOTS is very important. Are we actually teaching just at the surface level, understanding, look at the end-term question paper. You give me the end-term question paper of your any department last 5 years, and I'll tell you how the faculty is teaching. Because the question paper is an indicator of how the faculty is teaching. Are your questions that you're asking in the hall examination starting from what, define, describe, or is it starting from why? So if not many questions are starting from how and why, you're not actually teaching HOTS. If your question is starting from describe this, define this, list this, what do you mean by this? That means you are actually talking about the lower level of cognition. So think about it. It's very, very important. The Bloom's taxonomy, the revised Bloom's taxonomy. Contextualize the learning is very important. If you're not able to contextualize the learning, so we are teaching Harvard cases, let's say. The students actually learn Harvard from Harvard cases, no doubt on that. But they're not able to contextualize them because the things are not happening in front of their eyes. So suppose we are situated in Rajasthan. Can there be a possibility that our faculty writes cases from Rajasthan? Let's say we have actually created a leadership lab, and where our faculty recently have written a case on Kirana King. Kirana King case is very interesting because they have a problem that they want to actually expand beyond Rajasthan. Is it a good call? Is it a bad call? What the owner or the chair, the founder of the Kirana King will decide. Is he going to expand all India, or is he going to expand only the neighboring states? These are some of the intriguing questions. And now when the students is discussing this Kirana King in Leadership Lab, they are able to see Kirana King, they are able to visit Kirana King, they are able to contextualize Kirana King. Where is the learning from the context coming in the classroom? That's also we have to think about. So, if we are situated in Gujarat, we are situated in Rajasthan, is it not that, there is a lot of learning out there, and that can be actually channelized back into the classroom? So how do you do that? It's very, very important. Organized learning. So, how do we organize learning? Sir talks about elements, technology. Bowden has written a book. The title of the book is very intriguing. He said, Teaching Naked. Read this book, it's a fascinating book. What he says is that, if you're thinking that, you're fully dressed in the classroom and teaching, you're mistaken. Actually, you are naked because everything that you speak can be verified by a student within seconds, right? So consider this conversation which I had with my son a couple of months back, and think about the situation, how it is changing. I said, we have to go to Delhi, we want to go by road, the Delhi is 243 kilometers. So we'll take this much of time. He quickly replied, no dad, Delhi is 244 kilometers. This is the conversation. Think about it. Now the generation is in front of you, he's saying exactly 244 kilometers, not 243 kilometers, right? So this is the kind of verification one can do. This is a very super duper instrument in front of in the hands of everybody. So can this be actually channelized as a tool of learning? So if you think that this cannot be actually used as a learning, you have actually failed almost 50% in your teaching. That's what my perception is. Because you're dealing with a generation where you cannot say 243 kilometers. It has to be 244 kilometers. Because they know what exactly the things are. So thank you so much.
Thanks, Professor Pankaj. We started this session on ensuring quality in teaching pedagogy with very good stage setting by Sweta Chaudhary ji, and she emphasized on the specialized need of students and specialized way of teaching, which will depend on the needs of the students. And then Professor Anup Kumar Singh, he gave the concept of pedagogy with assessment, content, and the balance of these two are very, very important. If you are failing in assessment, then your way of teaching is not successful. After that, Professor Prabhat Pankaj, he emphasized on the importance of interdependent learners, then ecology of learning, the very process of learning, and the way to achieve learning objectives in the classroom setup. Friends, I will just summarize my experience